What if the greatest obstacle in your life was you? Not the world, not your circumstances, not your enemies, but the mountain you carry inside. Brianna Wiest tells us, the mountain is not blocking your path, the mountain is your path. And to climb it is to transform yourself. Every person has a mountain within them. It is built from fear, doubt, and self-sabotage. It rises each time we hesitate, each time we betray our own potential, each time we choose comfort over courage. But this mountain is not here to punish us, it is here to shape us. To climb it is to face the truth of who we are. To conquer it is to master the mind that once held us back. Imagine standing at the base of a towering peak, clouds swirling at its summit. The climb looks impossible. Yet every step upward is a step inward. Every stone you overcome is a self-sabotage is not failure. It is the quiet betrayal of your own potential. It is the moment you delay the work you know matters most. It is the excuse you whisper when opportunity knocks. It is the comfort you choose when courage is required. Brianna Wiest explains that self-sabotage is not weakness, it is misdirected protection. It is your mind trying to shield you from pain, rejection, or change. But in protecting you, it imprisons you. Think of the mountain again. Each time you avoid the climb, the mountain grows taller. Each time you turn away, the summit drifts further into the clouds. Self-sabotage is not the mountain itself. It is the weight you carry that makes the climb harder. To master yourself, you must first name the sabotage. You must see the patterns: procrastination, perfectionism, fear of success, fear of failure. These are not random flaws. They are signals. Resistance is not laziness. It is fear disguised as logic. It is the voice that says, "Not today," when today is the only day you have. It is the endless rationalization that convinces you comfort is safer than growth. Brianna Wiest explains that resistance is the mind's way of protecting itself from uncertainty. Change feels dangerous, so the brain builds walls. But those walls are not made of stone. They are made of excuses, distractions, and doubts. Think of the climber at the base of the mountain. The path is steep, the summit hidden. Resistance whispers, "Stay where you are." The climb is too hard. The risk is too great. Yet the truth is simple: the mountain is not dangerous. The danger lies in never climbing at all. To master resistance, you must see it for what it is: a defense mechanism that no longer serves you. The moment you recognize resistance, you weaken its hold. The moment you step forward despite fear, you begin the ascent. Resistance is not laziness. It is fear disguised as logic. It is the voice that says, "Not today," when today is the only day you have. It is the endless rationalization that convinces you comfort is safer than growth. Brianna Wiest explains that resistance is the mind's way of protecting itself from uncertainty. Change feels dangerous, so the brain builds walls. But those walls are not made of stone. They are made of excuses, distractions, and doubts. Think of the climber at the base of the mountain. The path is steep, the summit hidden. Resistance whispers, "Stay where you are." The climb is too hard. The risk is too great. Yet the truth is simple: the mountain is not dangerous. The danger lies in never climbing at all. To master resistance, you must see it for what it is: a defense mechanism that no longer serves you. The moment you recognize resistance, you weaken its hold. The moment you step forward despite fear, you begin the ascent. If fear is the root of sabotage, then awareness is the antidote. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your feelings without being ruled by them. Self-awareness is the courage to see yourself clearly, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Brianna Wiest explains that self-sabotage thrives in the shadows. It grows strongest when we refuse to look inward. But the moment you shine the light of awareness, the mountain begins to shrink. Imagine the climber pausing on the path, listening to the storm inside. Instead of running, they name the fear. Instead of denying the doubt, they acknowledge it. This act of recognition transforms the climb. The mountain is no longer a faceless enemy. It becomes a mirror. Emotional intelligence is not about controlling emotions. It is about understanding them, learning from them, and using them as guides. Self-awareness is the map that shows where the mountain begins and where the summit lies. Without it, you wander in circles. With it, you ascend with purpose. Fear and doubt are not one-time battles. They are cycles. They return each time you approach the edge of growth. They whisper the same lies. You are not ready. You will fail. Stay where you are. Brianna Wiest explains that these cycles are patterns, loops of thought and behavior designed to keep you safe. But safety is not freedom. Safety is the cage that keeps you from the summit. Imagine the climber circling the same path, never ascending. Each time they try, fear pulls them back, doubt chains their feet. The cycle repeats endlessly, until one day they break it. Not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to obey it. Breaking the cycle means interrupting the pattern. It means choosing action when your instinct says retreat. It means replacing doubt with discipline, fear with faith. Each time you break the cycle, the mountain shrinks. Each time you rise, the summit comes closer. The climb is not about avoiding fear and doubt. It is about refusing to let them dictate your path. Mastery begins when you stop repeating the cycle and start rewriting it. Every action you take is a vote for the person you believe you are. Self-sabotage thrives when your identity is trapped in the past, when you see yourself as someone who cannot change, who is destined to fail, who is unworthy of success. Brianna Wiest explains that transformation begins not with behavior, but with identity. You cannot climb the mountain if you still believe you belong at its base. The summit demands a new self-image, one of strength, courage, and mastery. Imagine the climber shedding an old cloak, heavy with doubt. With each step upward, they put on a new identity, not of someone pretending to be strong, but of someone becoming strong. The climb is not about proving who you are. It is about becoming who you are meant to be. Identity is the foundation of self-mastery. When you change the way you see yourself, the mountain no longer feels impossible. It becomes the natural path of the person you are becoming. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It is the daily choice to climb, even when the summit is hidden, even when the path is steep. Brianna Wiest explains that discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Each act of discipline weakens the grip of self-sabotage. Each step taken despite resistance proves that mastery is possible. Imagine the climber rising before dawn, lacing their boots, and beginning the ascent. The mountain does not shrink, but their strength grows. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is the quiet power of showing up, again and again, until the summit is reached. Self-sabotage thrives on inconsistency. Discipline destroys it. The climb is not won in a single leap, but in countless small steps. Discipline is the rhythm that carries you upward, the heartbeat of transformation. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to climb while fear walks beside you. Self-sabotage dissolves the moment you choose courage over comfort. Brianna Wiest explains that courage is the turning point of transformation. It is the moment you stop negotiating with doubt and begin acting in spite of it. Courage is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and relentless. Picture the climber standing before a sheer cliff face. Fear screams, "Turn back." Doubt whispers, "You cannot do this." Yet courage steps forward. One hand grips the rock, one foot rises, and the ascent begins. Courage is the spark that ignites mastery. It is the force that carries you through storms, setbacks, and uncertainty. The mountain does not shrink when you are brave, but your spirit expands. And with each act of courage, the summit draws closer. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal that growth is happening. Self-sabotage often begins as an attempt to avoid pain. The pain of rejection, the pain of failure, the pain of change. But in avoiding pain, we avoid progress. Brianna Wiest explains that pain is the mountain's most powerful teacher. It strips away illusions, forces us to confront reality, and reveals the strength we never knew we had. Imagine the climber caught in a storm halfway up the mountain. The wind cuts, the cold bites, the path feels unbearable. Yet each step through the storm builds resilience. Each moment of suffering becomes proof of endurance. The pain does not break them, it forges them. To master yourself, you must stop running from pain and begin transforming it. Pain can be fuel. Pain can be wisdom. Pain can be the fire that burns away weakness and leaves only strength. The climb is not about avoiding storms. It is about learning to rise through them. Mastery is not built in a single moment of courage. It is built in the repetition of small, deliberate actions. Habits are the scaffolding of transformation, the invisible structure that carries you up the mountain. Brianna Wiest explains that self-sabotage thrives in chaos. It feeds on inconsistency, on the absence of structure. But habits create order. They turn discipline into rhythm, and rhythm into progress. Imagine the climber who rises each morning, ties their boots, and takes one step upward. The summit is not reached in a day, but in thousands of steps. Each habit is a step. Each routine is a rope that pulls them higher. Habits of self-mastery are not grand gestures. They are simple acts repeated until they become identity. Reading, reflecting, exercising, creating, these are the bricks of the new self. The climb is not about sudden leaps. It is about building a staircase of habits that carry you to the summit. The mountain is not just a metaphor. It is lived every day in the choices people make. Across the world, countless individuals have faced their inner sabotage and turned it into self-mastery. Brianna Wiest reminds us that transformation is not abstract. It is practical. It is the student who once procrastinated but now rises early to study. It is the entrepreneur who once feared failure but now builds boldly. It is the parent who once doubted their strength but now leads with love and resilience. Imagine the climber who once turned back at every storm. Today they climb steadily, not because the mountain is easier, but because they are stronger. Their story is proof. Self-sabotage can be rewritten into self-mastery. These real-life applications show that the principles of the mountain is you are not confined to theory. They are tools for living. They are steps anyone can take, no matter how high their mountain may seem. The mountain is more than a metaphor for struggle. It is a symbol of the human condition. Throughout history, philosophers and sages have spoken of the inner climb, the journey from ignorance to wisdom, from weakness to strength, from fear to freedom. Brianna Wiest reminds us that the mountain is not an obstacle placed in our way. It is the path itself. To climb is to live. To resist the climb is to stagnate. The mountain represents the eternal truth. Growth requires ascent, and ascent requires effort. Imagine the climber gazing at the summit, realizing that the mountain is not outside of them, but within them. Each stone is a belief. Each storm is an emotion. Each step is a choice. The climb is the process of becoming fully human. Philosophically, the mountain teaches us that mastery is not about reaching the top. It is about embracing the climb. The summit is not the reward. The climb itself is the transformation. Freedom is not the absence of obstacles. Freedom is the ability to face them without fear. Self-sabotage chains us to the base of the mountain, convincing us that we are powerless. But self-mastery breaks those chains and opens the path to the summit. Brianna Wiest explains that true freedom is internal. It is not about controlling the world around you, but about mastering the world within you. When you no longer sabotage yourself, you are free to rise, free to create, free to live fully. Imagine the climber reaching a plateau high above the clouds. The storms are below, the doubts are distant. They breathe deeply, realizing that freedom is not found at the summit. It is found in the climb itself. Each step upward was an act of liberation. Freedom through self-mastery is the power to choose courage over fear, discipline over sabotage, growth over stagnation. It is the realization that the mountain was never holding you back. It was shaping you into someone who could be free. The mountain was never outside of you. It was within you all along. Every fear, every doubt, every act of sabotage was a stone in your path. And every step you have taken, through awareness, discipline, courage, and mastery, has brought you closer to freedom. The summit is not the end. It is the beginning of a new life, lived without chains, lived with purpose, lived with mastery. The mountain is not your enemy. The mountain is you. And by climbing it, you have become more than you ever imagined. Get your copy from Amazon to read the book completely. The link is given below in the description.